Hey guys, it's JJ. Welcome back to the Maui Dynasty. We are at the end of the season. We did not make it to the playoffs. We were the 11th seed at the end of the regular season, and because Utah State and what was the other team? Tulane, yeah, they won their respective conferences, so they got ranked over us. We played a bowl game. We lost that one. So now we're gonna go to the off season, and first up, like always, the coordinators. We didn't lose anybody, so we keep everybody. Josh Gates, Jeff Patton. That's gonna be our two coordinators. And with that, we're gonna move on. Gonna take a quick look at our last season's schedule. We're gonna start off here. Washington lost 22-10, kind of felt like a game we didn't have a chance. Then won a close one against Buffalo. Won another rather close one too with San Diego State. They kept up with us for a long time. Oregon State was 55-52, and then we blew out Utah 42-10. We blew out Oregon 52-28, and then we lost to California again. We win against Stanford, against USC. We lose again to Arizona. We blow out Hawaii, and then we play against Utah again, and this time we lose 43-31. So all in all, a very inconsistent season with a few blowouts in both directions. And yeah, the playoff ended like this. So Utah State, they lose against Florida State. Clemson loses to Nebraska. We've got Georgia on a 69-17 blowout here over Michigan. We've got USC winning over Kansas State. They move on and they lose to Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. And then Ohio State wins against Georgia in the Peach Bowl. We have Washington winning over Nebraska in the Rose Bowl, and we've got Tulane losing to Florida State in the Fiesta Bowl. So Florida State, the 5 seed, against Washington, the 1 seed. That's a 27-21 win for FSU in the Cotton Bowl. And then in the Orange Bowl, we've got Ohio State winning in dominant fashion, a shutout, 33-0 over Alabama. So that's just crazy. Ohio State wins against Georgia and then has a shutout against Alabama, and they go on to win it all. Apparently, Ohio State had by far the best team in the country. That was not even close. 45-12 in the finale in Houston, Texas. It was not even close from the get-go. 28-7 at halftime, and then they have a 0 points third quarter, but they never let go, and then they go on to have a 17-point fourth quarter. So with that, we're going to move on to individual season stats. Benjamin Phillips, 5,000 yards, 45 touchdowns, 10 picks, 57% completion percentage. And then Abdul Rubin, he played here and there a few snaps, got 6 out of 12, 3 touchdowns. And then for running backs, Jamil Morris on 150 carries, 700 yards, 5 touchdowns, no fumbles. Good to see that. And then Quinton Drango, he had only 62 carries, 314 yards, but 13 touchdowns. He was the goal line back, and you can see the production. He also did not have a fumble. But the run game on this offense is basically non-existent, which means we're going to move on to receivers. And boy, Terry Carter, 2,340 yards in one season on 98 receptions, 27 touchdowns. That's triple crown leader. We got Craig McHugh, 54 receptions, 906 yards, 9 touchdowns. Solid season for him. We've got JJ Easy, 768 yards, 5 touchdowns on 64 catches. We've got Sergio Wiggins with a pretty solid season, especially the second half. 43 receptions, 620 yards, 4 touchdowns. I'm expecting Sergio Wiggins, by the way, to break out this offseason and hopefully be the number 1 receiver next year. Then Morris, 29 receptions, 189 yards, no touchdowns. Mary, 12 catches, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns. Quinton Drango, 10 catches, 95 yards, 1 touchdown. didn't do much. Manuel Kamea, the guy that's going to take over at tight end, 3 catches, 69 yards, no touchdowns. For the defense, we've got Afa Gash, the middle linebacker on this team, 161 tackles, 21 TFLs. We've got Jose Mangold at 111 tackles, and that's always bad news. If your safety duo are a part of your top tacklers, that means your run defense was horrible, and this is exactly the story of this season. We've got Afa Gash, 21 TFLs, and he only had a half sack, so that means he actually had 20 TFLs. That's a crazy good number. Then we've got Nate Goodspeed, 21 TFLs, but 11 and a half sacks, so it really is just 10 TFLs. Maka Halapio, 14 TFLs, 5.5 sacks. So it is in fact 8 TFLs. And then we've got Kareem Cleveland. And if your fourth best TFL producer is a defensive tackle and the first 3 aren't, you know you've got a problem, because this is usually the job for defensive tackles. And okay, then you might argue, yeah, but like if your defensive tackles don't run stop a lot, maybe they're good pass rushers. No, they are not. We have got 2 good edge rushers at the top here with a combined, I think that's 17 sacks. And then Phelps, 3.5 sacks. Cleveland, 3 sacks. That's just abysmal from our defensive tackles. And yeah, there is no other way you could describe that. This was a horrible season for our defensive tackle group, and we need to regroup this offseason. We need to get a lot better than that. We have a few players, linebackers mostly, that have like a couple sacks on the season. Nothing spectacular, just from blitzes and stuff. We've got Mohammed Hook, leads the team in interceptions, 5 of them. We've got Tyler Hector on 1 of them, and then Mangold got 1 as well. And then Alpha Gash had, no, Daniel Madrid was the other one. And then for forced fumbles, I mean, it's just a couple, nothing spectacular. For passing on the national level, Benjamin Phillips with his 4,999 passing yards, that is going to lead the country, and the same is not true for touchdowns scored, because actually there is somebody with 46 touchdowns. But receivers, Terry Carter leads the country. Actually, not even Triple Crown, because there was a receiver with 104 catches, but leads the yards, leads the touchdowns. That was not even close. So no Triple Crown for Terry Carter in his senior season. And then Afa Gash, he leads the country in tackles. Yeah, I know it. The statistics says Pac-12, but for defensive stats, you have to cycle through every conference themselves. And Afa Gash led the country in tackles. Nate Goodspeed leads the conference in sacks, but definitely not the country, not even close. So 11.5 is enough to win the Pac-12 here, apparently. And for interceptions, we've got Mohammed Hook leading the conference with 5. Not leading the country, however. There was a couple guys with 6 and 7. So we've got Hook there. And with that, we're going to move on from individual stats to team stats. And yeah, Maui has got a great offense. And no denying that. We were 4th in the nation, and we didn't even play in the playoffs. We didn't even have all those extra games. We didn't play a conference championship game. We only had 13 games this year. And we had by far the best passing offense in the country, and it was leading by 700 yards. And the thing is, this sounds great, but it was reliant on almost single-handedly having Terry Carter carrying this entire offense. We also had a horrible run offense, 873 yards. That's well, I mean, it's not bottom of the country, but like it's bottom 25 or bottom quarter of the country, I guess. We had the best scoring offense, 38.4 points per game, is going to lead the country over Texas Tech, over Georgia, over Utah. But we couldn't hold off Utah in that last game, sadly. 4 passing touchdowns, we lead the country, 48. That's a lot. But we again, rely on one guy that had 27 of those touchdowns. You only have 21 passing touchdowns to other guys other than Terry Carter. That's an offense very reliant on one player. We only had 18 rushing touchdowns, and by only I mean that's still a lot. Quentin Drango, a lot of goal line carries there. That was actually top of the country. I kind of was shocked at that. But we are just not solid enough in the run to lean on it. I mean, this is a passing offense, and I don't want to like start only running the football. So obviously, I'm gonna lean on the pass, but relying on just one receiver that's a senior and that's gonna leave this year might have us with a few problems next year. Now, the other problem with this team is we had a horrible defense, one of the worst defenses in the country, and we're up there despite only playing 13 games. There is teams with 15, 16, 17 games on this list here. Passing touchdowns, passing yardage allowed. I mean, this is a horrible number. Almost 4,000 yards, despite only having played 13 games. We allowed almost 300 passing yards per game to opposing quarterbacks. I mean, that's not gonna win you much. And then this run defense was absolutely abysmal. 1,500 yards. We allowed more than 100 rushing yards per game. We have a horrible defense this year, and this needs to change. Now, the good thing is we don't graduate a lot of players this year, so a lot of players stick around and get better in the offseason, hopefully. But points allowed, I mean, if you calculate this down to per game, this is more than 30 points a game allowed, and you just can't expect to win games consistently with a defense that allows 30 points, more than 30 points per game. We did have 35 sacks, which wasn't a horrible number, but there were too many long third downs that we still allowed them to convert. For fumbles recovered, I mean 2 on the entire year. That's just, that's bottom of the barrel. Obviously, bottom of the barrel. And then we've got interceptions. We got 8 of them, and that is gonna have us somewhere in the middle. That's just, I mean, that's not great, but it's also not horrible. It's just, I mean, we are below average. And in total, we have only 10 turnovers created this season. So that's also not great. And from those 10, 5 were coming off of one guy, McHugh. So again, too reliant on production from one player. Third down conversions, 44%. I mean, at least that's not awful. That's a pretty solid number, I guess. And then for fourth down conversions, 78%. That was actually a really good number. So that was top of the country, actually. Only a couple teams ahead of us, a handful of teams. 78%. I hope we can keep this up for next season, but we're gonna lose our best receiver. I think this number might go down if we don't have a lot of improvement on our receiving unit. And then for red zone efficiency, this is pretty awful. 51%. We hit 80 red zone attempts, and only 41 of them were touchdowns. Like, what happened to the other 39? 7 field goals, 32 no points scored. Like, that's an awful high number. That's very bad. That's abysmal. And then for the defense, we allowed 54%. That is also horrible. On the other hand, there were also 24 tries of opposing offenses in the red zone that didn't score any points. So that it wasn't that horrible. But again, we are in the bottom half of the country. For turnover differential, I mean, no surprises there. We had a few interceptions over the year. We lost 1 fumble this year. We didn't create many turnovers. We're -3. I mean, you always want to be in the positive, right? But threw a few too many picks for that. Let's hope we can improve this next year. But honestly, if you're throwing a lot, you're going to throw interceptions. That's just logic. You have a higher passing volume, you're going to throw more interceptions. Now, let's go over 2 records, as Terry Carter has a new season record for receiving yards on the country. He also has a new record for touchdown catches in one season in the conference. 27 is a new record. And then that's also the 2,340 yards. It's also a record for the conference, obviously. And then this season, we also had a new record broken passing yards in one game, cleared by Benjamin Phillips, 540 passing yards. That is a new record. Let's go on to awards. We have a Heisman winner from Washington, Lamont Dwyer. We played against him. It was pain. But Terry Carter was second, a receiver with 2,340 receiving yards and 27 touchdowns. I mean, obviously, he had to be a finalist. That is a crazy number. And then Player of the Year, Air Noland for Ohio State. We've got Terry Carter as a senior. For the Maui Surfers, we've got Lamont Dwyer in third place, and most of the other players don't really matter too much. Best head coach, we were not even close to the top, so winner is going to be Andy Polk from LSU, and they didn't even win anything. Best quarterback goes to Air Noland. He wins the national championship. Lamont Dwyer is in second. He wins the Heisman. Best defensive player is actually, for some reason, Nate Goodspeed. Doesn't make any sense to me, but okay, whatever. 11.5 sacks is not even that many. I mean, if he had 17, that's a different story, but okay. Best defensive back goes to Ohio State at the top 4. They're actually top 5. Of the top 6, they had 5. And then in 7th, it's Jose Mangold. In 9th, it's Tyler Hector. And in 12th, it's Muhammad Hook. Don't actually know why all these 3 guys made this list. I mean, Hook should be a lot higher on this list. 5 interceptions should get him qualified at least above his own teammates. Hook had a phenomenal season, and he's just a freshman, so expect great things from him next year. Best running back goes to James Peoples of Ohio State. We were not even close to anything there. But best receiver, obviously, we got to win that. 2,340 receiving yards, 27 touchdowns. That's going to get you an award. Lombardi Award, best defensive lineman of the year, goes to Edric Houston of the Ohio State University. And then we got Nate Goodspeed in third place. A couple of Florida State defensive tackles in 5th and 6th. And then an edge rusher in 8th from Florida State. And then the best senior QB of the year, we didn't have a senior, so nobody from us on that list. Best defensive end is Nate Goodspeed. Don't know why at all. That doesn't make any sense to me, but okay, whatever. We've got best interior lineman. We did not make that list at all. No guards, no centers for us. Best tight end, Greg McHugh wins an award as a senior. He is going to leave this year, so he's going to go to the NFL. He wins a Best Tight End award. That's a nice thing. But we also see Manuel Duffield in 5th. He was a surfer in season 1, and then he transferred away to Oregon. So glad to see him on this list as well, I guess. The Broyles Award for coordinators. We don't win anything on that. We have Garrett Stover from Ohio State winning Best Linebacker, and then Afa Gash in 2nd. Doesn't make any sense to me. Gash had like 0 picks and a half sack. He only had tackles this year, and he was a liability against the run. So I have no idea why he's on this list. Best center, Kentrell Pulgin actually makes it as the 2nd best center of the country. No kickers for us, and no punters for us either. And the last thing that is left is best returner, and we did not have a single return touchdown. So let's move on to All-Americans. We've got first team All-Americans. Receiver, obviously, gotta be Terry Carter. But we can also see Byron Cardwell as a running back for California. We played against them this year. Pain. We lost against them 37-24. And then we've got Greg McHugh also making this list as the first team tight end. And then not many other players that we actually recognize from this season. A lot of players from the SEC, obviously, and from the Big Ten. So we're going to move on to the second team All-Americans on the national level. We've got Lamont Dwyer winning second team All-American as a quarterback for Washington. We played against Cameron Tobias from UCLA. Recognize that dude. We've got Manuel Duffield from Oregon. So 2 surfer tight ends win the All-American lists here. Duffield also a senior, so he's going to be gone as well. And then we've got nobody worth mentioning from the offense and from defense. Actually, none at all. Everybody's from the Big 10, Big 12, SEC, so nothing worth mentioning here. And then freshman All-American. We've got a quarterback from Washington State, Frederick Warrior. We didn't play him, but we might play him soon. And then we've got Santiago Vasquez from Utah State. He wins their conference this season. And then we've got Kentrell Poljan for Maui as a freshman. He is an All-American freshman center. And then a lot of players from Nebraska for some reason on this list. They might have had a really good recruiting year 2 years ago. Another one at linebacker there. And then a corner from Stanford, Jacques Polk. He makes this list. And then we're going to move on to Pac-12 All-Americans. Let's see what do we got here. Lamont Dwyer, obviously, quarterback. All-American, first-team All-American quarterback for Washington. Cardwell, Mike Mitchell. We faced him twice this season. He was pain. Couldn't stop this dude at all, man. He was breaking tackles left and right in that bowl game, man. Terry Carter, obviously, got to make this list. We've got Rashid Williams from Washington. Greg McHugh is the tight end, first-team All-American tight end. We've got an offensive lineman from Utah, the left tackle, Caleb Lomo. We've got a guard from Washington, Khalid Tafai. And then we've got a lot of players that are from Oregon, especially on the defensive line. I have no idea how we beat that team, honestly. 52-28, that was a huge game for us. I do not know how we did that, but okay. Oregon State, we faced a lot of these players, a linebacker and 2 safeties. And then second team All-Americans for the Pac-12. We've got Josh Droege, the quarterback from USC. We've got Jordan Washington, a running back from Washington. Makes sense. And then Duffield as the tight end. We've got Poljan and Wayne Brown make it as center and right guard, second team All-Americans. We've got Ashton Porter for Oregon, the left end. I still remember him. He was a disruptor. One more, for some reason, makes his list. He had an abysmal season. No idea why he is a second team All-American. He didn't even have any production to make that sense, but okay. And then actually we win the punter here. Clement Brown as a senior, his last year. He's an All-American Pac-12 second team All-American punter. For the freshman, Abdul Rubin, 12 passes apparently are enough to win him All-American freshman quarterback. And then Quentin Drango, 13 touchdowns. I think that actually makes a lot of sense here. And then we've got Sergio Wiggins. He had a solid season. I think he was kind of breaking out toward the second half of the year. That was very fun to see, and I have high hopes that he will be the new number 1 receiver next year. Let's hope he can have a nice offseason. And then we've got center and guard control. Poljan is a starter, so that makes sense. Carl Lamb, he was a backup, so that doesn't make any sense. And actually somebody from Hawaii made it as a right tackle, Paul Yarbrough. We've got a couple defenders from USC. Emilio School, Quincy Muamba, Afa Gash, all of them make it as All-American freshmen here. And then Shaq Polk again from Stanford. We've got Mohammed Hook as the other corner for the Surfers. And then Brian DeLuca as a safety from Oregon. And that's it for All-Americans. A lot of players a lot of our freshmen made these lists, so that's nice to see. They're all gonna be here next year and gonna get better. Now, leaving stage, nobody declares early. We're gonna lose a bunch of graduates. In total, this is 10 players, I think, if I counted that correctly. No, it's actually 9. So McHugh, projected number 1, round 1. Carter projected round 3. Yeah, sure. Heisman finally is projected round 3s here. You serious? Morris around 6, Brown around 6. We're gonna lose a couple defensive tackles in Moore and Brown. We're gonna lose our kicker and punter, and we're gonna lose Daniel Lidrett, the strong safety. We're gonna take a quick look at all of these players, their final stats, their final contributions to this dynasty. Jamil Morris, it's a receiving back. He never had a star role, but he was a lead back for the final year, and he did have a solid season. I think he's a good pass catcher. I think he could play some receiver as well. His route runnings are not really great, but like as a gadget guy maybe. And he's got 87 speed, so he's not the fastest. That is also why he wasn't involved that much in the offense. But over his career, he had about close to 1,400 yards and a total of 13 touchdowns. We've got a total of 25 broken tackles over 3 years starting. Morris had 189 yards receiving this last season, and in total, I think that's about close to 500 receiving yards and 1 receiving touchdown over his career. And with that, we're going to move on to Terry Carter, 6'2", 176, out of Anchorage, Alaska. A dude from Alaska is a Heisman finalist. That's always a funny story. He's a great route runner. 95 release, 99 medium route running. Dude was incredible. And he also had the deep speed. He has the crazy good hands, but only 80 catch in traffic. So that's a little bit of a weakness for him. He was not really the jump ball guy. He was he's 3 yards behind the defense guy with his 96 speed. So a pure deep threat. I kind of can't see why he's not a first round pick, just because, I mean, that's not really, he's not really an X, I'd say, at the next level. He's just a pure deep threat. So over his career, he tallied a total of about 3,300 receiving yards and 38 touchdowns with a high of 2,340 yards and 27 touchdowns. Greg McHugh, sad to see him go. He's the best player on the team, 6'2", 232. He's a tight end, so he won't really get the deep down the field targets that much, but he has very solid hands. He was mostly our third down conversion specialist, and seeing him go also hurts this team a lot because, well, I mean, he was the dude that moved the chains. Over his career, he saw 1,920 receiving yards on 123 receptions and a total of 19 touchdowns. We will miss him badly because he was the glue that held this team together on third down. We did not really have another player that was helping us a lot on third down, so he had a great career here at Maui, and now he's going to move on to the NFL, going to be a first-round pick. A guard, Wayne Brown, that did not break out till the last season. He was like a 71, 73 overall for most of his career, and then for his senior season, he got a huge boost up to like 87 overall or something. Wayne Brown is a very solid pass protector, a very solid run blocker overall. He allowed 3 sacks in his final season. That's a decent number, I'd say. Wayne Brown will also be missed. Our offensive line needs to, grow this talent back, I guess. And then we've got a defensive tackle here in one more, 6'7", 311 out of Cypress, Texas. One more had 85 power moves and 62 finesse moves. He was a one-dimensional pass rusher with 90 strength and technically pretty good run stopping ability. 89 block shedding indicates he's a great run stopper, but that was never to be seen on the field, to be honest. He was just not there. Look at the number of tackles for loss. He's just not an NFL type pass rusher or run stopper. So that's why he won't be. Probably, at least. Over his career, he had 5 sacks. I mean, that's gotta tell you, like 5 sacks in 3 seasons, that's really disappointing. And like probably not even close to 20 TFLs over 3 years, also horrible. And then Kenneth Phelps, torn pec, out for 21 weeks. So also not going to be drafted for him. 85 power moves, 91 strength, 82 finesse moves. And honestly, his run defense was 88 block shedding is ridiculous because you would expect from these two defensive tackles to have 20 TFLs each. And they didn't even have 20 combined. They didn't even have 15 combined. Over his total career in 3 years, he had 37 TFLs and 12 sacks, no picks, 2 forced fumbles. I don't know. This is just a disappointing defensive tackle group, and we're gonna lose 2 of the better players we still had. So I think next year is gonna be tough if we don't have great training results. And then Daniel Madrid, the strong safety. He was, over big parts of his career, a liability against the pass. He doesn't have the athleticism you want. He's solid in pass coverage, decent in run defense, and 86 speed. He had a solid career, but he's not going to be an NFL pick, and you can see why. He had only... He allowed too many deep touchdowns. He just doesn't have the athleticism to play in the NFL. And over his career, he forced 7 interceptions and 2 forced fumbles. Decent numbers, I guess. At least he's a solid tackler, I guess. And then we're also going to graduate our kicker, David Howerton, 6'2", 218 out of Bridgeton, Maine. Howerton is a pretty accurate kicker, 84 accuracy, 94 kick power. That tracks, I'd say. He was very reliable. I like that his leg was very strong. We had a few deep range kicks that we needed to make. And yeah, we're gonna move on to Avery Rooks from now on, but will not be missed. Now, Howerton himself only played 1 season. He made 8 of his 11 attempts, but he made anything below 40, so his 3 kicks he missed, they're all over 40 yards, which in college is considered long range. So I think he's a fine kicker. He also made all of his 67 extra points this year. Clement Brown, the punter, 6'2", 224 out of Arlington, Washington. Clement Brown is also an accurate archetype kicker, 89 kick accuracy and 94 kick power. Solid punter. He actually was a second-team All-American this year, so I mean that's nice to see. He was just I don't know what am I supposed to say? He's a punter. What are you talking about? Now the only thing that's good to see about his stats is that this season we only had 34 punts compared to 43 the year before and 50 the year before that. But he had a little bit of downfall in production this year. Yeah, that's it. So we're gonna be at draft results here. Greg McHugh is in fact a first-round pick. Terry Carter is gonna be a third-round pick. Jameel Morris, a running back, and Wayne Brown are drafted in the 5th round. So late round picks for a couple of teams that need some backup potential players there, or like a scat back. This is National Signing Day already. Now we would usually go to the off-season and off-season recruiting, but I never do anything there because we just don't have the space. So I was done with recruiting like 2/3 through the year, and we're just gonna take a quick look here. Enrique Reveron, elite dev receiver, 5 stars. And then we've got Danny Hollis, elite dev wide receiver again. So we win big on that front. And then Marcus Maldonado, I whiffed on him. He was a very solid prospect. We're gonna see him play for Oregon with his star dev. And then we've got Eric Addington, the tight end, a 5-star tight end. He's an impact dev player. And then Damian Fehoko, the right tackle. He's gonna have elite dev, a 4-star right tackle. That's nice to see. And then we got a guard here in David Crespo, normal dev for him. That's a little bit disappointing. Austin Van Lanen, a very solid player. We've got Terry Cheeks going to Auburn, only normal dev. I was a little bit surprised to see that. And then Jake Heimberger, the defensive tackle, elite dev. Dude looks pretty incredible. Alex Estrella, only impact dev. But at least George German has elite. or George Herman. I'm not yet sure how to pronounce that. Corners look solid, and then we actually did get two safeties this year, and yeah, because our safety unit has been a weakness over the course of this dynasty. So let's move on. Top classes in the country. Maui has actually signed the #1 class this year. 10 5-stars, 6 4-stars. It's gonna get him the win over Ohio State, over Clemson, over Notre Dame, over Alabama, and actually over Miami, which is always shocking because for some reason Miami is recruiting insanely well in all of my dynasties. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, as we are done with recruiting for this year. And we're gonna have position changes here. Christian Darnold, he's maxed out from his skill caps. So we're gonna move him to running back for the offseason and then move him back to receiver. Let's see what that's gonna do for him. He should have some better skill caps at running back at least. But yeah, he's gonna be a running back for training purposes. And then we're gonna have DeAndre Vick. Same thing here, he's maxed out. We're gonna move him to running back as well. It's just a lot of these 3-star receivers. Darnold actually was a 4-star receiver, by the way. A lot of these 3-star receivers, they just have pretty horrible caps. And so we're moving them to running back to get some receiving back upgrades. And then they'll be solid slot receivers, I guess. Ezekiel Cave, same thing. And then Taj Yancey. All 3 of those players are from, I think, the second recruiting year. He's also going to be a running back for now. And then that's it for receivers. And then we just have a couple more players on defense. We have Walter Lennon. He's a linebacker at the moment, but he's only 2 caps out. So we're going to move him to edge rusher and let's see what he can do there. 6 foot, 230. I mean, he's a little bit light for an edge rusher, but I think he can still do it at a very high level. And then this is training results. We've got Benjamin Phillips, no dev at all. So he's still an 87, a true 87 overall. We've got Abdul Rubin, I think +1. Salisi Lutui, I think +2, +3, but definitely not the dev we had hoped for. And then Bukele actually +2 or 3 as well. But this looks like very disappointing for our quarterbacks. And then at running back, massive dev jump for Christian Darnold. High enough that you might want to think about like permanently leaving him at running back, but we will not do that. The only real winner at dev here for running backs was actually Maka Mapanga. And then we've got Steven Hendricks winning, I think +2 or 3, so that's fine to see. And then for receivers, JJ Easy is actually the big winner. He's now a true 87 overall for his junior season. He looks like the #1 receiver on the team. And then we've got Kasim Abiameri in #2. Also had a big jump, I think a +4 jump or something. And then Sergio Wiggins, he was kind of the disappointment, only +1 or +2 maybe. So a little bit sorry to see that. And then Johnny Feely looks like a #4 receiver this year. He had a little bit of a jump as well. Maldonado had a nice jump, +4, +5 maybe. Talbot also with a nice jump. And then at tight end, we have Manuel Kamea makes a nice one. So he's now an 87 with boosts. We've got Hakeem Izukanma, the freshman, makes a solid jump. And then Stromberg didn't make much of a jump here, but it looks like this is going to be Kamea's show for this next season. And then at left tackle, we have Gregory Crouch overtaking Deshaun Butts. So we will be seeing about that for this season. But Crouch was a very nice recruit from last year who was redshirted. And now this season looks like he's going to be starting. Carl Lamb. I moved him to left guard, by the way. I just don't show position changes if they're going to stay the same position just on the other side. But Lamb had a nice jump to 88 overall. Paul Jen, also a little bit of a jump to 91 with boost now. As a sophomore, we have a very nice offseason dev here for the interior O-line, and wait until you see this. Right guard, Donovan Caraway is a 94 overall right guard. Moved him from left guard, actually, to replace Wayne Brown. Best player on the team is Donovan Caraway. And then we've got no real dev jumps for Banks or Pettigrew or Bullock at right tackle, so that's a little bit disappointing, but that's okay. We still have a great interior O-line, and I hope we can just use the space and step up in the pocket this time. For defensive end, Nate Goodspeed, +1, not much. But Gerard Stokely had a nice jump. I think that's about a +4 or +5 for him. Chet Grubb didn't do much. And then Enrique Vermilio is an 88 overall, but we will talk about him a little bit later. As Walter Lennon is an 85 with boost. We just moved him from linebacker, and he looks like a really solid edge rusher now. And the big disappointment is obviously going to be Nate Cherry, stuck down there. I mean, 80 overall, that's also a decent jump for him, but looks like he's the loser there. And then at defensive tackle, we have Bruce Schluger, the big winner, supposedly. Kareem Cleveland didn't get much, School didn't get much, Irvin didn't get much. A lot of players that just had a +1, +2 jump or something. So not much. We'll see how this defensive tackle group is going to fare on the field this year. But after seeing last year, and then we had 2 guys graduate, I'm not very hopeful, honestly. Jarek Westbrook, he has got a good jump. 84 overall at left outside linebacker. That's nice to see. We've got Afa Gash, not winning at all. Stanley Ferris actually catches up to him. So Gash might lose his starting job here if he doesn't pay attention. And then Cameron Avant had a nice jump as well. 84 overall now. So the linebacking situation looks very good for this season, I think. A lot better than last year. And then at corner, we only had one big winner, and it's Tyler Hector. He's the best corner on the team now. He will take over as number 1. From hook, Jamie Ham also had a good jump, now an 83 overall, so he will steal playing time away from Henry Officer. At safety, 90 overall, Jose Mangold. That's nice to see. Nothing worth mentioning on the other free safeties. And then at strong safety, Mitch Hendricks. He seems like the big winner from that group, and he will probably be the new starter. Just looking at overalls, but safety training results were very disappointing this year. And then our kicker, Avery Rooks, 93 kick power, happy about that. Our punter, 93 kick power, happy about that. There's nothing much more to talk about here on training results. And that is just gonna get us to roster cuts. And the first one is a very obvious one. Junior quarterback that's maxed out on caps and already has been overtaken by a bunch of other quarterbacks, including a true freshman. So he's gonna be gone. And then after I moved all the receivers back to receiver from running back, sadly, Ezekiel Cave didn't have much of an impact here. He's going to be gone. He is not good enough. I don't think he will ever play. There's a bunch of sophomores and freshmen that have overtaken him already. And the same is true also for Taj Yancey. Now, Christian Donald, he was an 89 overall running back, but for now he's going to stay a receiver. He will not play much this year, but if he has another good offseason dev at running back next year, I might actually let him stay at running back. And then we've got a linebacker in Jeff Peter. He's a sophomore, 72 overall. There's 2 freshmen ahead of him, and ahead of him by a lot. So he will be gone. And the same thing is true for Jason Riggins. He's minus 14 out of a player that is younger than him. So Riggins gone as well. And then I came back to receiver because I didn't know who to cut. DeAndre Vick. He's also gonna be gone, a junior at 78 overall. I mean, he will never make the NFL anyway, and there's a bunch of freshmen and sophomores ahead of him. So DeAndre Vick will be cut here as well. And then final cut, that was a tough one for me. I am going to cut our most senior tight end, Sony Bandy. He's capped out at 76 overall, and he will not get any better. He will never start over Emmanuel Kamea. And with that, we're gonna take a look at the conferences. I have done this in 2 other dynasties already, and I really like the results. I turned every conference into a geographical thing. So AAC is going to be everything Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia. ACC is going to be everything South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia. The Big Ten is going to be Ohio and Michigan, plus Wisconsin, the one team from Wisconsin. The Big 12 is going to be Texas and Oklahoma exclusively. I really like how these conferences have been playing out, and the other dynasties have been doing this. Conference USA is just the Northeast, so everything from Pennsylvania and Maryland up. And then Notre Dame gonna stay independent as one independent team. And then for the Mid-American Conference, we've got all the actual Mid-American teams. So we've got everything between Iowa, or actually anything between Minnesota and Arkansas, I guess. Anything between Kansas and Missouri, I guess. We've got the Mountain West is actually gonna be the mountains, the Western Mountains, and the Pac-12 is gonna be the actual Pacific teams. So teams along the Pacific, the Hawaii teams, California, Oregon, and Washington. And this is gonna be a complete realignment. We're gonna have a lot more rivalry games from now on in conference. And then the SEC is going to be the actual Southeastern Conference, so Florida and Georgia. And then the Sun Belt is going to be everything from Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi. So this is going to produce actually fun playoff schedules, because in every conference there's a couple, like somewhere between 2 and 5 really good teams that you would actually expect to play there. And then you don't have weird stuff like Tulane having the 4th seed or something like that, you know? And then with that, we're going to be moving on to the roster. Benjamin Phillips has been declared the starter. I played around in training a little bit. He is just the best quarterback still. His accuracies hold up. I think I have been too aggressive playing with him, but with losing our deep threat, I think his weaknesses are going to get mitigated this year. So I think Phillips is still going to be our best quarterback. Now, we're also going to take a look at all the freshmen. And Brendan Kreiner, oh boy, what a freshman. Basically, no caps, 95 throw power right off the bat. Kreiner looks incredible as an athlete. But he also has all the room in the world to develop as a runner and as a passer. His accuracies are uncapped. I think he could get to the 90s easily. You might look at a new starter here next year. This is going to be the senior season for Phillips, so next year there's going to be an open field here. And then obviously Kreiner also 89 speed, crazy good athlete. Quinton Drango, 5'10", 200 pounds. He is gonna stay the lead running back. Actually, I went with him because he just has the better overall running back skills. Now you might say, yeah, but Mapanga had the great offseason dev and he looks like the best overall running back. Yeah, no, he's not. Quinton Drango has similar elusiveness ratings like juke and spin move and break tackle, but he's so much better at stiff arming and trucking than Mapanga is. That made him an easy target. And now Mapanga is not even gonna get the receiving back snaps because Steven Hendricks is actually a better receiving back. So Mapanga had the big offseason boost, but he's not even gonna see the field this year. I know, but what do you want me to do? I want the best players out on the field, and I want every role to be filled with the best available player. And Steven Hendricks is the best receiving back we have on the team. And then we're going to take a quick look at Avery Jaimez. Now, you might be wondering, why are we not playing a true freshman 5-star recruit? Well, that's because I think he's about as good as Quinton Drango as a runner, but he doesn't add anything to the receiving game. So we're just going to redshirt him this year, and then maybe next year he's going to be the starter. Who knows? Now, the thing with Drango is he's almost maxed out from his caps. So I do not have much hope there for him getting better until he's a senior. So Jaimez is probably going to overtake him. But for now, we're going to stay. JJ Easy is going to be the #1 receiver on the team. He is just the best pass catcher. He's got Very good route runnings, 95 release, 88 short route running. He's got 96 spec catch, 91 catch in traffic. He's a jump ball guy, a perimeter physical X receiver with just 80 catching. But he can break some tackles. He can juke and spin people out. He's a very solid athlete. And I think he has earned this opportunity after having a great training camp, I guess. Kasim Abiameri is going to be the Z receiver. He's a typical Z receiver with very solid route runnings and 87 release. That's nice to see. He has got very solid catching ratings. The catch and traffic at 84 is a little bit lower than what you want, but it's fine. He's a Z receiver. He hopefully can have a lot of space to work out there on the perimeter, and also he's got 98 speed. So I think he's going to be open a lot, but he will not be the same kind of deep threat that Terry Carter was last year, or Lloyd Morgan was 3 years ago. Sergio Wiggins. Sadly, he was a loser from training camp. He didn't develop much, and as such, he will stay as a slot receiver this year as well. He just is not ready to play outside because he has only 79 release, and his hands indicate he's more of a slot receiver, to be honest. He's got very good athleticism, and he's going to have the same role that he had last year. I think that's okay for him. Johnny Feely, you won't see much of him. He's the number 4 receiver. I just show him off a little bit. 5'11", 162. He's the second slot receiver. Like if we have actually 4 receiver packages, he will be out on the field. He can't run deep routes. He's not the same type of athlete that Kasim Abiameri is. He has solid hands for the slot, and 92 speed, 92 XL. That's decent. He's a decent slot receiver in case anybody goes down with an injury. And then I just have to show off my true freshman receiver. It's going to be redshirted here. Enrique Reverone. He looks unbelievable. Basically, without any caps, except for his hands. That's sad. His route runnings need a lot of work, but he already has 85 release right off the bat. I think he's going to be a starter next year. And then elusiveness looks really good. His hands are really solid, and he's got 95 speed at 6'3". Reverone is going to be unbelievable. And then we've got Danny Hollis, 6'4", 207, out of Memphis, Tennessee. An even bigger receiver, also a 5-star recruit. I love what he can do. Elite Dev Hollis has very solid hands, but the route runnings need a lot of work, sadly. Now the good thing is 81 release is already high, so that's nice to see. His hands need a little bit of work, but pretty decent to start out with, and he can even improve his athleticism, and he's already got 96 speed. That is absolutely ridiculous. And then at tight end, we're going to have a new starter. Manuel Kamea is going to take over. Now definitely this is going to be a downgrade from what we had with Greg McHugh. But he's a possession tight end. I think we're going to refocus this offense on winning with short and medium concepts. And I think Kamea is better suited for that anyway. He's got 84 speed. He's got decent hands. He's a very good route runner for a tight end. That's nice to see. On the bench as a redshirt is going to be Eric Addington this year. 6'3", 251. Big tight end, but he can't run any routes. He's basically maxed out with his hands. I would not expect him to be a draft pick, but a solid option for the future, I guess. And dude is fast, really fast. 86 speed, 89 XL. He might be a downfield threat in the future, but not right now. Now, for the offensive line, I think this is an improvement over last year. Gregory Crouch is going to be the starter, 6'7", 295. For O-line starters, I have made pass protection as the one thing that matters the most, and he is by far a better pass protector than Butts was last year. So that is the only thing that counts for me. Gregory Crouch is going to be starting at left tackle. Carl Lamb, he's a pass protecting left guard. He was a backup last year, and he has 2 platinum abilities, pocket shield and PA shield. That is very nice to see. His pass protection is very solid. Run blocking is lagging behind a little bit, but we're throwing more than 80% of the time, so I actually don't even care. And the abilities will help him out. Now, not with the run, obviously, but his run blocking ratings are actually not horrible, so I can live with that. And then we've got Kentrell Palgen, 6'2", 304 out of LA, a former 4-star recruit. He's now going to be a sophomore, and obviously he's going to start. He's one of the best players on the team. He's got actually better run blocking than pass blocking. And I was debating Kane Clemens for a little bit there. He's a 10 overall gap between those two, but Clemens is a better pass protector, but he's just a little bit better pass protector, while he is so unbelievably much worse as a run blocker. So that's why I still went with Palgen on that front. And then at right guard, best player on the team, Donovan Caraway. Yeah, he's maxed out now at 93 overall. He's a great pass protector here. Nice to see that. Very solid starter. Gonna be a first-round pick next year. He will definitely declare early at 93 overall. 94 with bonus. Great player. Now, this is a freshman. He's going to be a redshirt. David Crespo. Just want to show him off real quick. A 4-star recruit from last season. Sadly, maxed out on the pass protection. He, in general, does not have great skill caps, sadly. So that's not great to see. And but I mean, I guess at least he's already a solid pass protector. He just will not get any better at it. He's just a horrible run blocker. Now, at right tackle, we do have a higher overall tackle in Deshaun Butts, who could start at right tackle. But again, it's about the pass protection, and Frank Banks is one of the best pass protectors on the team. His pass blocking is just so solid that I decided he will still start, even though he had a disappointing training camp. And yeah, he's still gonna be the starter. That's our offensive line. So overall, I'd say we have an improvement at left tackle. We have an improvement at left guard. We have an improvement at center. We have an improvement at right guard. And we've got a slight improvement at right tackle. I hope this is going to help the offense out a lot after the departures of Terry Carter and Greg McHugh. And yeah, just real quick, Damian Fehoko, tackle we recruited last year. He looks really good. His skill caps look pretty solid as well. Right now at the moment, he's a little bit raw for both pass protection and run blocking, but he might be an option next year if he has a nice dev jump or like an overall jump, I'd say. Nate Goodspeed, he will have his role reduced. He is now a run stopper. He has lost his starting pass rushing role to an opponent because he couldn't develop at all in the offseason. He has got 88 power moves and 76 finesse moves. He is the best run stopper at left end, so he will still start as a base end, but he has lost his job to Gerard Stokely. Now you might say, oh, but like, he's 6 overall lower. Yeah, but he's a better pass rusher. 6'4", 245 out of Duncan, South Carolina. Gerard Stokely has 85 finesse moves and 82 power moves. Just an overall lot more solid pass rusher, and that is why I will go with him and reward his training camp efforts. He's a horrible run blocker, so I hope that doesn't backfire, but he will go as a nickel pass rusher, nickel personnel starter, I guess. Walter Lennon is gonna be on his other side, so we have 2 new pass rushers this year. Lennon will be the designated pass rusher at right end. 88 finesse moves, 82 power moves, just a very solid combination there, and pretty happy about seeing his big jump in the offseason. He's also a very solid athlete, and even though Nate Cherry didn't have the greatest of off seasons, he will hold down the base end spot because he's just such a great run stopper. 90 block shedding is by far the best defensive end that we have for run stopping. And because that's not enough, he actually has some upside as a pass rusher with 82 power moves. He's very one-dimensional as a pass rusher, but he will do a fine job, I think. And then we've got Austin Van Lanen, an Impact Dev rookie, or freshman, I guess. Van Lanen, 88 finesse moves, but 61 power moves. if he had like 82 power moves or something like that, I would consider him starting him as a true redshirt, as a true freshman edge rusher, but he is not, and he's also a horrible run stopper, so that's why he's being redshirted. He's a great athlete, nothing to complain about there, but he will be redshirted this year. Kareem Cleveland. Yeah, let's talk about him. He is an okay defensive tackle. He will still play this year, but he has had his role diminished compared to last year. He's just not a good run stopper. He will be a pure pass rusher. I hope he can show up. Emilio School, 6'6", 292. He is a run stopper, and he will hold down that run stopping spot that he had last year. Actually, he didn't have that last year. He was a pass rusher last year. So now his role has changed. He's a solid run stopper. He's got some power. He's got basically no pass rush upside. I think he's going to do a fine job as the #1 run stopper in the middle of this defensive line. And then Alton Irwin is going to be next to him. 6'2", 294. The Hawaiian 3-star defensive tackle. Alton Irwin is a decent run stopper, I'd say. He's technically a speed rusher, but has maxed out there. So he will stop the run this year. Nothing crazy about that. But I feel like he's going to be a weakness. We don't have great run stopping defensive tackles on this line. And then we've got Jawan Alba. He's going to be the #2 pass rusher, a 76 overall, but just his combination of 85 power moves and 79 finesse moves is the second best pass rush combination on this defensive tackle unit. So he will be playing as a pass rusher this year. And now you're wondering, hey, what happened to Enrique Vermilio and Bruce Schluger, our two recruits from last year that are now redshirt freshmen? They both are not good enough in the run or the pass. Like they might have high overalls, but they're not good enough at doing specific things. They're good athletes with average skills, and that's not good enough to start at run stopper or defensive tackles for both of them. And just a quick look here at Malik's grind, basically uncapped, man. Dude looks really good as a defensive tackle. And then we've got another one here in Jake Heimberger, 6'6", 284. Very light for a defensive tackle, but also basically uncapped. But yet again, we have two more defensive tackles here that you might be wondering, yeah, but like, if you have such a weakness here at defensive tackle, why don't you play the freshman? Because they're not good enough at doing specific things. This dude, for example, his pass rush moves in the 70s, and run stopping, his block shedding is 68. Why would I ever consider starting that? That's just horrible for starting this year. He might be ready next year or something, but not this year. Now, Jarek Westbrook will be the left outside linebacker in base personnel. He's a great run stopper, but he does not have great coverage. 76 zone is decent. He's a great athlete. I think he will do a good job against the run, and that is a huge upgrade compared to last year. Now, we also have Alex Estrella. He's gonna be redshirted this season. 6'2", 220 out of Orange, Texas. Estrella. He's very decent in coverage, just right off the bat. Just not good enough to start yet. His run defense needs a lot of work. His 61 block shedding is just not good enough to start right now. But he's a great athlete, and I think he might be ready to do something next year. Stanley Ferris. He will be our #1 linebacker this year. He had a great offseason. 6'1", 240. He's our best run stopper at 77 block shedding. He can tackle. He's got lots of hit power. He's got some pass rush ability, and he's actually our best coverage linebacker as well, as 95 zone coverage. And that means he takes away Afa Gash's starting spot. Gash is now going to be a pure passing down linebacker in nickel personnel. Gash is great in coverage, and actually not even great in coverage, solid in coverage, but horrible against the run. We saw it last year, and I waited way too long to do anything about it. I should have swapped his role mid-season probably. Or one thing that I might consider for next year, just turning him into a pass rusher. He has got 97 finesse moves. Kind of is maybe the Micah Parsons story arc. Also, he's a great athlete, but we'll see what the next offseason brings. He's going to be a number 2 linebacker this year. And then Cameron Avant is going to be the starter in base at right outside linebacker. Avant is a solid run stopper. He's got basically no coverage upside, and he is not the greatest athlete at all. So that's why I went with Stanley Ferris over him, even though Avant has actually really good block shedding. It's just not the same kind of athlete. And then let's take a quick look at the freshman here, George. Let's call him George Herman. 6'2", 232 out of Dallas, Texas, a 5-star recruit. Solid right off the bat in coverage. His run stopping needs a lot of work. His IQ needs a lot of work. His pass rushing ability is awful, but he's an unbelievable athlete. And he's basically uncapped. So the sky's the limit for him. Now, that being said, we're going to move on here to the corners. And this is going to be an interesting arc here. Tyler Hector is going to be the number 1 corner this year, but in base personnel, he's going to play outside. In nickel and dime, he's going to play slot. That's because he's the only corner that is actually good at tackling. So I will leave him in the slot just because he can do it really well. He's also got 80 for zone coverage, which is great. And his man press ability is just not as good. So there's not really that much upside keeping him outside. But very solid offseason for him. Mohammed Hook, he is going to stay an outside corner. He will be playing the number 2 spots. He will be playing outside at all times. No slot role for him. 89 man coverage, 86 press. He's got great hands. 87 catching is terrific. Just his zone coverage is still so low. Now, the thing about him is, yeah, he is low zone coverage, but he's got the platinum house call ability. And that means he's going to have a lot of interceptions every year. I hope so, at least. So he will be holding down the outside for it. Now, Jamie Ham is going to come in nickel personnel, but he's going to be playing outside. And then Tyler Hector is going to be moved to the slot. He's very solid in man press. 78 zone coverage is not even awful. He's got the silver house call ability, but he's also got the platinum jammer ability, which means that he's going to be very good in press, and I am very happy about that situation there. Henry Officer, he's the loser from this offseason. He didn't develop at all, and now he has lost his starting role on the outside. He will now be a dime corner, going to be in the slot next to Tyler Hector, or on the other side as Tyler Hector, I guess. He just didn't develop much this offseason. He's a solid athlete with solid man coverage, solid zone coverage, but he's kind of maxed out on his skill caps there for man and zone. Brad McLean, gonna be redshirted, not good enough to start this year. His press ability is just not there. He doesn't have any abilities to speak of at all. At least no physicals. And apart from his man coverage being pretty awful, his zone coverage is even worse. 69 zone, that's not startable at all, not even close. I think he actually probably needs 2 years before he's gonna start. 2 years of good offseason dev. And then we've got Johnny Webb, 6'2", 195 out of Jacksonville, Florida. Webb is a 4-star. He's also going to be redshirted, but this dude at least can already play right off the bat. Great man coverage and press ability. He's got at least a bronze house call ability. That's nice to see. So better interception attempts. 66 zone coverage is, however, not playable at all. Even that 71 zone coverage we have on Mohammed Hook is very low, but I'm willing to let him play because he played great last year. Jose Mangold is going to be the starting free safety. He's now a 90 overall with bonuses, obviously, so a true 87 or something, I think. And boy, 87 zone coverage, 90 awareness, 85 play rec. And over the past few years, we had a horrible safety duo every single year. But this year, I think, is going to change because he had great offseason dev on his athleticism. He has got now 93 speed, and the range showed in training. And he's also got the platinum robber ability. So I'm going to be really excited about him. And then at as a freshman, we're going to redshirt Charlie Heimberger. He's not ready to play, and his skill caps actually look pretty awful, I gotta say. This is not looking good for him. I'm kind of doubting that he will ever play much if he isn't going to be lucky a little bit. Jamie Breida, 5'10", 192, recruited him as well last year, and his skill caps look a lot friendlier. And he's already at 80 zone coverage right off the bat. I think in a few years, Breida is going to be the starter over Heimberger, just because the skill caps are so much better. And he actually has some room to improve as an athlete as well. That is very good to see. Mitch Hendricks. He's going to be the starter at strong safety. Finally, as a junior, he made it count. 6'2", 215. Hendricks is a very solid starting safety, I'd say. 78 zone, 81 man. His tackling ability is lacking a little bit, but I think he complements very well to what the other one does, Mangold. And at least we've got 89 speed back there. So this is an improvement at safety, a massive improvement to last year. So I hope we can avoid having all those deep touchdowns from opponents this year. And then the kicker, Avery Rooks, 93 kick power, 74 kick accuracy. Okay, don't really care. Actually, one thing I care about is actually the silver mega leg ability. So I hope we can kick some long-range field goals with him. And then we've got Luis Hand, who's got the gold field flip ability and silver mega leg. So that's very nice to see. 93 kick power, 69 accuracy. He's going to be a junior this year, and I'm really happy about the path we have taken at specialist now. And then we're going to go real quick over the preseason All-Americans, national preseason All-Americans. We've got Aaron Noland as the quarterback. We've got James Peoples as a running back for Ohio State. So those two are coming back this year. We've got Enrique McNabb from Washington make this list. We've got David Twala, the tight end from Washington, make this list. And spoiler alert, we will play them this year. We've got Cliff Matlock from USC as a center. We've got one player from our team as the right guard. Donovan Caraway makes this list. And then a bunch of starters from Oklahoma for some reason. Clemson, Kentucky, Georgia. Nothing important there. And then, yeah, nobody else on this list that's actually really important to this dynasty from our side of the country, I guess. So let's move on. Preseason second team All-Americans. Let's see, who do we got? It's gonna be none of us. Well, actually, we do have one player down there, but no quarterbacks, no running backs, no receivers, no tight ends for us. Instead, we're gonna see TJ Kranchik from Oregon make it. That's nice to see. That's gonna be a tough opponent. And then Kentrell Paulgen as a center. So we've got two national All-Americans at offensive line. That's great to see. Moving on, we've got a right tackle from Ohio State. We've got a right edge rusher from Ohio State. Bunch of players that don't really matter to me. But Ohio State is the team to beat here. So that's scary to see, obviously. And then down the list, nobody from the Pac-12. So nothing too important. Nobody from the Mountain West Conference either. And with that, we're going to be moving on to the Pac-12 preseason All-Americans. This is where the real money's made. From the Pac-12, we've got Josh Droege, the quarterback from USC, is first team All-American. We've got Atui Pulotu from UCLA yet again. We've got Jordan Washington from Washington and Enrique McNabb from Washington. TJ Kranchik from Oregon. So remember Chase Farrell from Stanford. We just had the tight end. We've got 3 USC offensive linemen. We've got 2 from us. Carl Lamb is actually making this list here, but for Kentrell Paulgen, it was not enough, I guess. So our two starting guards are Pac-12 All-Americans from the first team. And then I still remember Joe Asiain from Stanford as the defensive tackle. I still remember Dylan Stevenson from Stanford at linebacker. I remember Pitoe Tua from Oregon at linebacker. Don't remember any of the other guys. We have Jose Mangold as a free safety, Tyler Spain as a strong safety. That is very interesting. Oregon still with a lot of good star power, and they are in our conference, so we will face them at one point or another maybe. We've got a couple of running backs from Washington and Oregon again. We've got 3 receivers from USC. That is just absolutely crazy. We've got Kentrell Palgen as a center. No surprise that he makes this list as well. And then we've got a player that's not even going to start, Bruce Schluger. I do not know how he is the highest overall. He's not a great run stopper or a great pass rusher. He's just an average defensive tackle, and we have better specialists, I guess. But apparently he makes this list. He will not make the final list at the end of the season, I can tell you that right now. And then we've got 2 USC corners, and Isaac Zuniga from Oregon State as a strong safety. I remember that dude. And speaking of USC all this time, yeah, they will be our first opponent this season, USC. That's going to be really interesting. And then we've also got Arizona on the schedule. I put them there because, well, I mean, I actually randomized it, and I'm really happy about playing Arizona this year. This is going to be a fun matchup. We lost to them last year, so there's some history there. And then TCU, there's a player that we tried to recruit once upon a time. I want to see how he's doing at TCU. And then conference play starts. Cal, Washington State, Oregon State, Washington. This is the northern half of the conference. And then we're going to get into the southern half. San Diego State, San Jose State, Hawaii, and UCLA with a game against Notre Dame in the middle there. There is also a player from Notre Dame that we tried to recruit once upon a time, so we will see him again. Let's see how he's doing at Notre Dame, and we'll talk about that when we're getting to that game as well, when I'm showing you the rosters. Now, for preseason, we are ranked number 3 in the country in the preseason. That is absolutely ridiculous. I do not think we are the 3rd best team in the country, but one thing that is interesting to see, Washington, USC, and Maui, top 3 are all from the Pac-12. And because that's not enough, we have got Notre Dame from our schedule at number 4. We've got Cal at number 10. They're also from our conference. We're going to face them this... Actually, yeah, we do face Cal this year, yes. And then we've got nobody else, I think. No, I don't see anybody else, but a lot of teams from our conference in the top 10, and +1 from Notre Dame for playing them. But this is going to be a fun season. I really like how the conferences are set up this way. We're going to have a lot of rivalry matches in our half with San Diego State, San Jose State. We're going to be playing Hawaii every year now, and obviously the northern half of the conference with Oregon, Washington, and Cal, Stanford. That's going to be really tough to face. This is going to be a fun season, I think, and I think this was also a good off season for our team. We still have some holes here or there, defensive tackle maybe. The safety duo still have to prove that they have upgraded. We still need an improvement from the linebacking unit. I think we need proof of this receiving unit, but this is going to be a fun season, and that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe for more Maui Dynasty. See you in the next episode. Until then, have a great day.